Back here on HQ Spotlight, two longtime rivals facing off on Thanksgiving when the Packers head to Ford Field to face the Lions. Both of these teams have the talent, have the potential to make a postseason run, but unlike other years, both of these teams are looking up to the Bears in the NFC North. The Bears, the top of the division, you see it there sitting at 8-3, and we're looking at the remaining schedule for each of these teams as they try to make a playoff push, and they're all contenders in the division, if you will. I keep seeing that one at the end of the Packers schedule, and I'm wondering if that is going to bite them down the line, that dang tie that is sitting there on their record with the Cowboys. Vegas currently has the Packers winning the division, though. They are the favorites at plus 130. So let's welcome back Mike Renner and JP Acosta. Gentlemen, if the season were to end today, the Bears would win the NFC North, which is something crazy coming out of my mouth. The Packers are a wild card team, and the Lions on the outside looking in. So this NFC North race getting a little bit crazy down the stretch. Renner, who do you think wins the division, and how many NFC North teams are we going to see in the playoffs when it's all said and done in your eyes?
I think the Packers do ultimately win the division. I think they are not only the best team, but they have the rest of the North in front of them. They already just beat the Vikings. They have 2 games against the Bears. They have this game against the Lions. It is all in front of them to take that division, and they're getting reinforcements back. Guys like Lucas Van Ness just came back. Jaden Reed's going to be back here soon, that they desperately need on both sides of the football. So I think the Packers end up winning, but I think we only get 2 teams in. I do think one of the Bears or Lions gets left out in the cold in the end. A lot of the reason why being because of what we talked about the 49ers in the last block and their semi-easy schedule here down the stretch. The fact that the West is such a house this year of a division. I think we only get 2, so that means one of the Lions or one of the Bears, in my mind, is going to be left out in the cold.
I actually think the Lions are going to win the division. I think, like Mike said, with the Packers getting reinforcements back, the defense for the Lions is still going to get reinforcements back. DJ Reed just played in his first game since coming back from injury. You're going to get Terry and Arnold back eventually. You're going to get a lot of those guys who were injured in the beginning of the season. You're going to start getting them coming back. You're going to start getting them fully healthy. And I still think that this offense can reach highs unlike any team outside of Los Angeles in the NFC. So I think when they're all healthy, I think they're going to be able to get win the division. But I do actually think there's a chance they get 3 teams into the playoffs. I think it's going to come down to that Bears game against the 49ers, but I like their odds. So I'm going to say, yeah, we're going to get 3 teams from the NFC North into the playoffs.
Okay, so it's not all bad news, Bears fans. Bears fans are like, what the heck? We're leading the division, and neither of these guys are rolling with the Bears to win the NFC North. Want to go back to the Lions because they were able to squeak out a win in overtime against the Giants after trailing by 10 points in the fourth quarter. JP, does that give you pause or concern about this Lions team, or do you have a different perspective, maybe like, hey, good teams always find a way to win? Where's your head at with the Lions right now?
There's a little bit of concern. I think part of the Giants' game plan involved Jameis Winston catching a touchdown pass and making one of the most incredible flea flicker touchdown passes you will see this season. So a lot of it had to do with a lot of variance. But the biggest thing that I'm a little concerned about is their ability to get pass rush and get home. Jameis Winston was only sacked on 2.7% of his dropbacks, despite being pressured on 45.9% of the time. It's a number that you're going to have to get down. You're going to have to get those sack numbers up. You got to start creating those havoc plays, especially when the offense is playing the way that it is right now, when they're able to just drop 37 points on anybody. So I think the defense still has to come around a little bit, and I think that's going to be aided by a lot of their guys coming back healthy. But a part of the Giants game, they had a lot of variance went into that Giants game.
I am worried, though, because, as you mentioned, they really can't pressure outside of Aiden Hutchinson. And, yeah, they're getting reinforcements back at corner, but if you give people all day, anyone's going to carve you up. And their schedule is very, very difficult going forward. It's the Packers this week on a short week on a Thursday after having to face 77 plays from the Giants offense and play a whole extra quarter there. Then you have another short week or short-ish week because you play next Thursday against the Cowboys, who are red hot offensively. And then it's the Rams the week after that. So those are 3 games that they could go 0-3 in that, get to 7-7. If that's the case, they're kind of out of it already before then Steelers, Vikings at the Bears in week 18 to end the season. It just is so tough here for the Lions down the stretch, and it's clear that this is not the same Lions team, especially defensively, that we saw a year ago.
Okay, so when it comes to that Lions squad, the player to watch, Renner, for you, it's Jahmyr Gibbs in this matchup, and this is a guy who struggled in that first regular season meeting with the Packers.
Yeah, in that first game, 9 carries for 19 yards, 10 catches for 31 yards. Edgerrin Cooper had a massive game. Quay Walker had a massive game. Quay may not be playing this time around, so he may be a little bit more effective in this one. hopefully as effective as he was last week, because 219 yards on 15 carries, one of the best performances in terms of efficiency of all time at the running back position. If he can carry that into this game and have a much better game than he did week 1, the Lions will have a much better chance of moving that football.
I'm actually going to go with Jared Goff as my impact player for the Lions. And I think a large part of it is because he has to manage pressure better. I think for a large part of the season, when he has been on fire, when the Lions offense has moved really well, it's been because Jared Goff has been able to mitigate the pressure and being able to find the answers against a lot of the blitzes that he's seen up the middle of the field and up the middle of the defense where the Lions are weakest. But he's struggled a lot in that area. He struggled a lot against the Giants in that area. And on all their losses, on all the losses that Lions have had this season, Jared Goff has been pressured at a really high rate, especially a game against the Packers and Micah Parsons' first game since becoming a Packer. So I think in this game, he's going to have to manage pressure. He's going to have to make sure that he's not taking any sacks, taking any negative plays. And I think for the Lions to win, Goff is going to have to be an effective game manager.
All right, JP, what about on the Packers side of things? Who's your impact player to watch there?
I'm actually going with Devontae Wyatt. I think he has been the biggest beneficiary of having Micah Parsons on the field, and it's been because he has been able to isolate guys in one-on-one pass protection in the middle of the defense. I think when you match him up against overmatched guards, centers, his quickness off the ball is really going to cause a lot of problems, and that's where you've seen the Lions struggle. The Lions have struggled a lot through the interior of the offensive line. Tate Ratledge has had his ups and downs. Graham Glasgow's had his ups and downs at center. So I think with all the attention on Micah Parsons, I think Devontae Wyatt's going to have a huge game.
I'm going to go with the offensive side of the ball and right tackle Zach Tom. The week 1 game, he didn't allow a single pressure. He also got hurt in that game, though. Aiden Hutchinson, only 2 pressures in that game. We've discussed Hutchinson. He is the Lions pass rush. He has almost twice as many pressures as anyone else on that Lions team. So if you have a guy in Zach Tom who can basically shut him out, and Mike LaFleur, who's as good as it gets in terms of game planning for those edge rushers, your number 1 guys, and really trying to take them out of the game. If they have a good game plan for Aiden Hutchinson and can limit his impact, I like the Packers' chances of winning this game.
And as mentioned, the Packers dominated the first meeting this season. Lions are 2.5-point favorites here. So, Renner, give us a game pick. Who do you like?
Yeah, I like the Packers. I just think they match up very well. I think the Lions' injuries along the interior of that offensive line are going to come back to bite them against that Packers front that just brings so much chaos game after game, play after play. I like the Packers to win this one yet again.
I'm going with the Lions, and through all the injuries that we've talked about, we haven't talked about arguably the biggest one, which is Jordan Love's left shoulder still isn't fully healed. He was handing the ball off exclusively with his right arm. I think there's a lot of variance when you play a quarterback who is clearly only using one arm. And so I think with that, and with the NFC being as talented as they are, with the NFC North being as so hotly contested as they are, I think both these teams split games. So that means the Lions win at home on Thanksgiving.
JP, Mike, we certainly appreciated giving us a preview of the classic that we always get on Thanksgiving with the Packers and the Lions. And the guys are on opposite sides. JP going with the Lions, Mike Renner going with the Packers. Make sure you tune into CBS Sports HQ Sundays at 8:20 Eastern for our game day recap show, recapping all of the action from Sunday in the NFL with Damian, Pete, Haley, and Rand. Make sure you check it out. The crew always has an amazing time. It is so much fun. You don't want to miss it. CBS Sports HQ Sundays at 8:20.